So, hey guys, Chauzu here. So yeah, today it was announced that tomorrow the Afterparty to the 8th anniversary will begin with a new Sugo Fest, with a new kid and a new law. So in this video we'll take a quick look at the legend pools, move on to the Sugo Fest structure, and then finally look at the actual new units. We're also getting a new point event soon after the Kizuna ends. And it's going to be against Killer. He's pretty good, has a good support. And it also has good rewards like 45 gems and a gold key, among others. I'm very happy we're getting more gold keys in general. Anyway, let's jump in. 10% legend rate, normal Sugo Fest. So these are not Super Sugos. There are no Super Sugos on this Sugo Fest. And it looks like a classic debut Sugo Fest, to be honest. Drops tomorrow at news hour, and then one new part per day. We'll take the steps later. But yeah, these are the pools. And part 1, as always, is a bit bigger pool, but no guarantees. Looks pretty good, even has some of the new level limit break units, Corazon and Marco. I'm honestly baffled why they don't just include all of the new level limit breaks on part 1. Will have baited me. Instead, I'm a bit baited by part 2, since it at least has 3 of them, and 3 of the really good ones, in Korra, Croc, and Sabo. I'll make a video about them tomorrow, I think, to talk about them. But yeah, here we have Law as well, and some other recent units. And then part 3 has the new kid, as well as the new Big Mom, and Mark and Doflamingo, who got level limit break. So yeah, those are the pools. It's pretty hard to recommend with pools because it depends on what you like, but in general, you shouldn't pull on debuts, especially if we go and look at the rates. If we start with part 1, and there you see there's a lot of rate boosted or legend, a few legends guaranteed, limited pool unit on the 8th. Then there's some super limited pools up until the 25th, and then there's no guarantee. So yeah, if you're going to pool, it's probably part 1 to do a few, but it's not really worth it in general. And part 2 and 3, like usual, don't have much better steps. They are usually worse steps. The good thing about them, of course, is that you can get the guarantee, but the guarantee is not until the 30th multi. So yeah, let's not talk much more about the steps, because you probably shouldn't pull, but that doesn't mean we can't be excited about the new batch. So let's start quickly with the new rare recruits, I think. We can start with Heat and Wire. Pretty wild that they finally got a proper new unit. It's been a while. And yeah, Driven Striker int units. 2 different specials, 8 and 12. 8 doesn't look too bad, to be honest, removing 3 turns from some common debuffs and potentially giving a death down conditional. They don't apply the death down themselves, they need some help with that, but if they get one, they add some damage. And then at 12 turns, it's even higher, and both also do some easier perfects. And on the level 2 special is 3 turns. That's pretty neat and unique, actually. Pretty good special. They also resist special bind. They'll probably get fear in the future. And what's really wild about them is that they have this amazing sailor that if they have a tandem orb, they apply 10% driven and striker resistance. And yeah, this adds a ton of damage, especially if the unit is driven and striker. So yeah, suddenly Heat and Wire has one of the most valuable rare recruits, I'd say. Yeah, has support for Killer and Killer as well. Just reducing some special bind from the unit itself. Can be decent, but those are pretty niche. Beppo is a bit more disappointing, I say. He does have double special, and he's designed around it, but I'm not a fan of how they did it. Basically, changes all slots, including blocks to tandem. That is super cool, by the way. There might be times when you use him just for this. That's a super good ability. And you also get a big chain boost if Captain is Free Spirit or Cerebral. So like so far, offensively, very good double special. The issue for me is what comes next. It's that you can remove Special Bind and the Spear. And if you use the special twice, you can remove 5 turns, otherwise just 2 turns. And my issue here is that firstly, you don't get any additional positive benefits from using double special in 1 turn. So basically it's just more work to get the 5 turn removal. Then you think, but maybe you can combine and like remove 5 turns of special bind with 1 unit and 2 with Beppo. But he only resists 5 turns. This should have been more. Then Beppo will have been super cool. But yeah, it's a bit lacking now. He can increase attack buffs with a Tandem Orb though, so that's some added benefit. It's nice that Bandai are trying something new, and this does give added benefits to rare recruits in general. Support for Luffy, Law, Dog, Stormcap, Bear, Chachi, and Penguin. That's such a weird array of characters, but sure. If support characters are special, changes their slot to Tandem and makes Tandem matching for 1 turn. This is such a good support, since both Law and Luffy and a lot of others can now get a guaranteed Tandem Orb, which is going to be very useful moving forward with Super Tandem being a big thing. Because, yeah, this batch does also have Super Tandem, which is why many thought this was Super Sugo, but it's a normal batch. If we start with Law, he's a Cerebral Free Spirit Quick unit. So yeah, not usually with Law Quick units, and this is the first Quick Legend Law. If we look at the Captain ability, we see that he's a 5.25 times booster for Cerebral and Free Spirit. He has a bit of HP as well, makes tandems matching, reduces damage taken by 10%, reduces paralysis by 10 turns. And let me just stop there, like, why do they keep doing quick captains with paralysis resistance? Like, I'm fine with paralysis resistance, but we have V2 Magla now, we have Kiku and ISO, now we have Law. Like, please give some variety to the resistances. But like, of course, I'd rather take paralysis than nothing, but... And when you tap with Law and you have a quick Tandem or 1 orb, all enemies are set to 0 defense for 1 turn. So that's a nice added benefit. Don't need to use a special or a super class special or anything. You just tap with a certain orb and you get the defense set to 0, which can be immensely useful. If we look at this special, C reduction by 1 turn, Cerebral and Free Spirit, and this is basically, so Kid is also getting this. This is basically the sugar buff, in that usually when you tap a perfect, you get like plus 0.3 to the chain. This is now buffed to plus 0.6, so basically you just increase the chain even more. So this is a very unique debuff, and you will see the Law and Kid a lot in future super bosses, for example, due to how much this adds to the chain. It's just for Cerebral and Free Spirit though, so you need to build in certain ways to get it. So a bit, I'm not going to say restrictive, but it does add more options, which is the most important thing. It also gives an attack boost for 1 turn, pretty big, 2.75 times. A big heal that also overheals. And if you already have an attack boost, you get an Orb boost instead for Free Spirit and Cerebral. And the attack boost was also for them. So yeah, pretty good kit, but the problem is that when you compare with Kid, this does look a bit bland. But you have to remember that Law is a Free Spirit, which is the best class. And this does add new tools to Free Spirit. You can't sleep on it, for sure. Like, this might be the new go-to captain for Free Spirit in Super Boss, for example. The Law also has a Super Tandem. I think we start with the Super Class though. He's a Cerebral Super Class. And you need Beppo, Chachi, Penguin, John Bart, or Luffy. Yeah, and one of them. Or if you have an attack boost, a very easy requirement. You change your captain slots to Tandem and boost damage dealt to death down enemies for 3 turns by 2.25 times. So yeah, that's very useful since you can potentially get the conditional for 2 different stages, and yeah, very just good to have. Like, it can be deleted, but still you get the options. You don't need to run another unit to get the death down conditional. Okay, let's go to Super Tandem, and like for Luffy, you can use it every turn. Basically, at the maximum potential, you need the Super Tandem needs Law, it needs 1 Cerebral or Free Spirit, and then it needs 1 of Beppo, Shachi, Penguin, John Bart, Monkey D. Luffy, or Corazon. So that's pretty easy to fulfill, at least with Luffy, and Corazon is getting a nice buff as well. And Beppo does have some nice units now, so probably pretty manageable. It's basically the same as the Luffy, Super Tandem Luffy, except it's a lower attack boost, still 2 times though, that stacks with other attack boosts, and you get matching slots for 1 turn, and that's very good. Like, trying out Luffy, that's a super strong effect. So yeah, that's the Law. He has a decent support as well. CD reduction, heal, matching slot for Corazon and his crew. They will probably see some use sometimes. And now the star of the show, Kid. This unit is actually insane and continues to buff strikers even more. As well as Driven. Like, Driven has got new tools for a while, but this is definitely a nice buff to Driven as well. Driven Striker Int. So the first Int Kid Legend. Pretty fitting color, I'd say. Driven as Strikers get -3 CD. That's so good. At least compared to the V2 Kid, who only -3 CDs himself. Like, this is a true speedrun captain. 5.25 times attack, 1.65 times HP, int quick tandem matching, but you get self-damage every turn, which is not only bad because you have high HP, so if you have, say, Enrage, like this kid does, of course, you do get the extra base attack every turn you take damage automatically. And if you look at the special, 20% HP reduction, ignoring all defensive effects. This is the same thing as with Law. It's the sugar effect. Driven as Strikers, instead of doing plus 0.3 for every perfect, they do plus 0.6. So it's not as good as Sugar, but still very good, like Sugar, Law, and Kid. They were the only units in the game who can do this, so a very unique buff. The rest is pretty similar to Law, but not all of it. Like, the attack boost is the same for Driven and Striker, 2.75 times. And the next thing is one of the things that makes Kid truly great. Changes the type slots of Striker and Driven, as well as block slots, to Tandem, and gives them the unchangeable lock. So you have to hit a perfect, or you will keep Tandem. That's amazing, especially for a Super Tandem unit. And the other cool thing is that it doesn't change recovery. So if you want to keep a few recovery orbs for healing, you can do that. For example, the only other unit with unchangeable lock, or legend with that, which was the Capone crew, did change recovery to matching. So you couldn't really do that unless you had Samla. So that's a very neat tech. And if crew has attack boost already, you get an orb boost instead for Driven and Striker. Amazing special. This will see so much use. It's pretty insane, actually. Super class, below 50% HP, or you need Killer Heat or Wire. Big damage to all enemies. Reduces Driven and Striker character's CD by 1 turn. And then it's the V2 Odin buff that any attack boost used after the superclass special gets buffed by plus 0.25 times. So you attack with this first and then use the special, and it works on stuff like support and such as well. Pretty neat. Not the best ever, but neat for sure. Moving on to the Super Tandem. Basically you need Kid, you need 1 Striker or Driven, and then you need 1 of Killer, Heat, Wire, or Luffy. Nice of them to include Luffy, just have more options, but Considering how strong this unit is, I don't mind too much by it being a bit restrictive, but there's a lot of good killer units nowadays, and the new Heat and Wire unit is also really good, so you can probably make this work once you get to level 5 in the future. And you get a 2x tandem attack boost, and sets all enemies' defense to 0 for 1 turn. But yeah, once you get this kid to level 5, like, he's just going to destroy everything. Perfect. You have the unchangeable lock, full wall of tandem. You have tandem every turn. You just need to avoid perfect. And with all these damage boosts, it's not like you need a lot of damage. You can just keep doing the super tandem turn after turn after turn. But so yeah, incredibly strong unit. I haven't checked the perfect though. Is it a perfect? Nah, it's the bad perfect, but it's fine. Still a good unit. Driven and striker tandem and matching, and some base stats. Yeah. Kid in particular is amazing. Lava definitely see some use, but yeah, for this patch at least, Kid is the king. And I look forward to trying him out, but we're getting a level limit break patch as well. So there's so much stuff to try out, so we'll see how that goes. It feels like you can't keep up with everything that happens right now. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.